it always starts with one god. The only problem is that every major city had its own favorite god or had its own major god. And so in every city, there was a different theory of creation. Each one of them claims that their god is the first one. And then the others came out of it. So you have a theory from Memphis, they have a theory for Thebes, for Luxor, they have a theory for Ashmonaim, they have different theories for the big major cities, especially the prehistoric cities, the much earlier ones, not necessarily capitals of Egypt that were recognized in history, but even much earlier representations or records of these cities. The most important thing to know about the gods of Egypt is that unlike Greek or Roman gods, which were semi-gods, they were not complete gods because they were partly human, they had human feelings, they get angry, they get upset, they fight with each other, they even fight or get challenged by humans, that sort of thing. The Egyptian gods are above and beyond any of this. So when you're talking about ancient Egyptian mythology and you're thinking of the ancient Egyptian gods, forget common sense, because these gods are above common sense. Okay? There are things that they can do, if you think about it logically, say, how could that be? I mean, one of the theories of creation, for example, by Betah, who's the major god of Memphis, he was a creator who created everything on the power of word. He pronounced the names of things, and that's how they created. And what was the first thing he created? Himself. Well, you think about it logically, how could he create himself if he wasn't even there? But to the ancient Egyptians, they're gods. They're above and beyond any of these limits. Okay, so yes, he wasn't there, but he managed to speak out himself to bring himself into existence. And then he started creating all the other beings around him and so on. A major story, or one of the most important, probably the most recorded stories of ancient Egyptian mythology, deals with Isis, Osiris, and Horus. Mainly, they're the main characters, but the story actually starts long before that. It also starts at the beginning of creation. It's another theory of creation, where the whole universe was just one big ocean, okay, with a single lotus flower in that ocean. Every morning, the lotus flower comes above the water, opens its bud, and the sun, in the form of the god Atum, comes out from the lotus flower, circles around this universe, returns back to the lotus flower, which closes its bud, and sinks under the water for the night. Then the next morning, it does the same thing again. Comes up, and he comes around, circles around the universe, comes back. So he kept doing this for a few millennia until he got really bored and fed up of living on his own. So he decided to start creating other creatures and other beings, other parts of the universe. And I'll leave it up to your imagination to find out how he did that, but he started off by creating two things: moisture and wind. Okay? Moisture, which was the goddess Tifnut, and the wind, which was the god Shu. Shu and Tifnut, the moisture and the wind, they got married, and they gave birth to two others, Geb, the earth, and Nut, the sky. But when Geb and Nut were born, they were stuck to each other. And to separate them, their father, the wind, came in between the two and pushed the sky up. That explains why the sky doesn't fall down. I mean, what stops the sky from falling down? It's held up by the wind, by the father. That's why the complete scene of the earth or the universe to the Egyptians is a man laying down, which is Geb, the earth, a woman bent over him, which is the sky, Nut, and another man standing holding the sky up. We'll see it in some of the tombs, and you'll see it in some of the temples as well, these scenes represented. Now, Geb and Nut, the earth and the sky, also wanted to get married, but then Atum, the creator, the very first one, found that he was still living on his own. They're all being created in couples, and they're all getting married and living together and having children and all that, and he was still living on his own. So he decided to marry Nut, the sky. But she didn't want to marry him, she wanted to marry Geb. So he cursed her that she cannot have children in any of the days, weeks, or months of his year. They still went along and got married anyway, and after several years they wanted to have kids, so they went back to Atum and tried to speak to him to break the curse and forget about it, go get a life, this has been years ago now and all that, but nope, he wouldn't hear of it. Till Tohot, the record keeper of the gods, the ibis-headed god, tried to talk to Atum. He tried to convince Atum to break the curse, and eventually Atum refused him again completely. So Tuhot challenged Atum to play 5 games of darts. And for every game of darts that he wins a day of the year. Okay. Using his magic, Tuhot won all the 5 games. So he wins 5 days of the year. Remember the calendar yesterday?
Yeah.
The 360 days plus the 5 days of Tuhot added onto the calendar to make it 365 in total. But now these 5 days are no longer part of the year of Atum. They're outside the year, so they're outside the curse. Okay. So Gib and Nut were able to have children on these 5 days. They wasted no time at all. On the first day, they gave birth to Isis. On the second day, to Nephthys. On the third day, to Osiris. On the fourth day, to Seth. And on the 5th day, to Horus. Horus the elder. He is the one we saw at Komombo, the local god of Komombo. Remember, there were 2 gods. One of them had the single crown of the south, and the other major